2nd, 2021. And we are live. Welcome to the African History Network show, right here on 910 AM, the Superstation of Future Radio. It's been a very, very busy day. I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered today as well as a panelist. I'm usually on each Friday. So we were discussing, the story broke today, and we posted this article on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. Major League Baseball moves All-Star Game from Atlanta in protest of Georgia voter restriction bill. Now, I've been talking about the Georgia voter restriction bill that was signed Thursday, March 25th. We've been talking about that here on this show. And the fact that you have these Jim Crow era draconian bills being proposed in state legislatures across the country. And you have, it's 47 state legislatures now. Republicans are trying to push close to 300 bills. And there was talk about the Major League Baseball Player Association open to moving the All-Star Game. So we see there's an article from USA Today dealing with this, and Major League Baseball announcing that they're going to move the All-Star Game from Atlanta. Corporations are coming out more now in stronger force against these voter restriction bills. And this is due to activism coming from organizations like Black Voters Matter, Latasha Brown and Cliff Albright, New Georgia Project, Insay Ufa, and also Stacey Abrams and things like this. This is protests pushing, leveraging our economics to enforce a political agenda. So we'll talk about what's going on there. Then also, this was day 5 in the Derek Chauvin trial in the murder of George Floyd. So we saw more police officers testify today. And we saw Lieutenant Zimmerman testify also. And Lieutenant Zimmerman is the longest serving member of the Minneapolis Police Department. And he testified that it was totally unnecessary for Derek Chauvin to have his knee on George Floyd's neck for the amount of time that he had it on his neck. He said it was totally unnecessary. And he said, quote, pulling him down to the ground face down and putting a knee on the neck for that amount of time is just uncalled for. This is what he testified to today. So we'll talk about that as well, give you a recap on what happened in the trial. Now, on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events and history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Now, you can also support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, or through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, or at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com also. That helps us keep doing the research and stay on the air, keep broadcasting 6 days a week, etc. All right. I want to jump into this topic here. So we'll go to, I want to go to the first topic. This is dealing with Major League Baseball, okay, and moving the All-Star game. So this was big news. I shared this article on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network. It got over 1,600 likes. And this is something that I've been talking about, because when you compare this to the transgender bathroom bill, like in Indiana and North Carolina, you had sports leagues speaking out against this, NCAA speaking out against the transgender bathroom bills. You had NCAA games moved from, also in Charlottesville. You had NCAA games moved as well. So this is good news, okay? I want to go to the screen share, and I want to go to this article here from USA Today. We'll talk about this, and we also discussed it on Roland Martin Unfiltered as well. So Major League Baseball is moving the 2021 All-Star game from Atlanta in response to Georgia voting law. Okay, so if we look at the article here, let me pull it back up. Just a second here. Okay, so Major League Baseball will move its All-Star game out of Atlanta after the state of Georgia passed voting bills that will disproportionately affect citizens of color, an action that Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred on Sunday said is the best way to demonstrate our values as a sport, is the best way to demonstrate our values as a sport. Now, Major League Baseball's removal of one of its jewel events, which this year will include the draft for the first time, Major League Baseball draft for the first time, comes after a year in which the COVID-19 pandemic and the killing of George Floyd by a Minneapolis police officer caused the sports industry to reconsider its influence within society. Now, that recalibration was most felt in Georgia, where members of the WNBA's Atlanta Dream organized against one of its owners, former Senator Kelly Loeffler, who lost her Senate seat to Reverend Raphael Warnock, and urged Georgians in the WNBA's Atlanta Dream. They urged Georgians to exercise their right to vote and vote Kelly Loeffler out of office, vote Senator David Perdue out of office, okay, 2 Republican senators, all right, and also vote Donald Trump out of office as well. But especially in that they especially played a critical role in that January 5th Senate runoff election in Georgia. Now, by January 2021, control of the U.S. Senate flipped to Democrats after Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff won their January 5th runoff elections, with Warnock defeating Kelly Loeffler. On March 26th, it says March 26th here, but it's actually March 25th. It was Thursday, March 25th. Thursday, March 25th, Governor Brian Kemp, who stole an election from Stacey Abrams, by the way. Governor Brian Kemp signed legislation passed by both state houses, a Republican-led overhaul of state elections, rolling back voting by mail and other absentee balloting efforts, and even banning the distribution of food and water to those standing in line. And different parts of Georgia, especially in the Atlanta area, Fulton County, they're known for having long lines to vote. We know there have been across the country a number of polling places that have been closed after the Shelby County versus Holder U.S. Supreme Court case. And we know that in the 2016 presidential election, there were 868 fewer polling places across the country. and the majority of them were in areas that had a higher African American or Hispanic population. All right. There's been a systematic closing of polling places. We know in the 2020 presidential election, there were somewhere around 1,600 or 1,700 fewer polling places. So this is strategic. This is not by accident. So we have to ask the questions. If the African American vote doesn't matter, why do Republicans work so hard to suppress the African American vote? So then we saw the President Joe Biden called the bill sick and un-American, the Georgia SB 202. He said this on March 31st and told ESPN he would support Major League Baseball moving the Midsummer Classic out of Atlanta. Okay, this is Joe Biden. He said in the interview with ESPN, he said that he would support Major League Baseball moving the All-Star game out of Georgia, okay, because of Senate Bill 202. Now, just more than 3 months before, so the All-Star game is scheduled to take place July 13th. This is the 91st All-Star game. Just 3 months before this game is supposed to take place, the location is being moved. The new location has not been set yet. We'll see where that is. Now, over the last week, over the last week, we have engaged in thoughtful conversations with clubs, former and current players. Okay, and let me turn back on the screen share here. This is Rob Manfred, league commissioner, who said this. Over the last week, we have engaged in thoughtful conversations with clubs, former and current players, the Players Association, and the Players Alliance, among others, to listen to their views. I have decided that the best way to demonstrate our values as a sport is by relocating this year's All-Star game and Major League Baseball draft. Major League Baseball fundamentally supports voting rights for all Americans and opposes restrictions to the ballot box. We'll pick this up on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Gain knowledge in minutes from insightful summaries of progressive and socially conscious books. Blacklisted gives you access to curated content that'll satisfy your curiosity to learn and understand different perspectives. Empower yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. It's easy to read or listen to on the go. Blacklisted. Empower yourself. Start your free trial today.
Are you getting ready for fall or winter? We have the solution for all seasonal clothing needs. Kemeticwear.com is the go-to online source for Kemetic African fashion and lifestyle products with a contemporary twist. We're committed to offering unique styles reflecting our African heritage. Kemeticwear.com is inspired by KemeticScribes.com to influence our people in learning and showing pride. Please visit our website at Kemeticwear.com.
We all know the cannabis industry is headed toward an uprise in the past decade. What happens when there is a brand that brings this uprise in a blow? The cannabis industry welcomes her uprise. Hustle her hemp. Delivering excellence with pride is her watchword, and how you choose to embrace it makes it a priority. From cultivating rich cannabis into exquisite and tastefully finished CBD products to delivery, Hustle Her Hemp leaves no stone unturned. Hustle Her Hemp's mission is to empower women of color by building business and creating legacies, uniting beauty, health, and business. We are a pure definition of how we want the CBD industry to become in the future. While we are redefining innovation, we bring the same energy to improving the quality of life. Hustle Her Hemp is the new Uprise.
Hi, I'm Joel Wilson, President and CEO of JCW Computer Consulting LLC, a technology implementation firm with over 20 years of satisfying customers. We offer a full spectrum of industry top-tier branded services. We are an authorized partner or reseller for Lenovo, Zoom, T-Mobile, Microsoft 365 and Surface tablets, Google Workspace, Acer, Asus, Samsung, PCmatic security software, and many more. Our online store features laptops, Chromebooks, computers, printers, accessories, and software. Businesses, take advantage of our free 1-hour Zoom tech consultation and know we offer top nationwide high-speed internet service providers, voice over IP, and cellular phone services. Home users, don't miss our current in-stock Chromebook inventory. Please visit us at jcwcc.com or call 215-879-6701.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation of Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Friday, April 2nd, 2021, and we're live. Hope everybody's doing well. We've got Martisha watching. We've got Charlene Mitchell as well from 910 AM Superstation. Her show is on Thursdays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. She had me on a show yesterday. Okay, the call-in number is 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a quick question or comment. Right before the break, we were talking about Major League Baseball announcing today, league commissioner Rob Manfred announced today that due to Senate Bill 202 being signed into law in Georgia, the voter restriction bill, that Major League Baseball is moving the All-Star game out of Georgia. It was set to take place in Atlanta on July 13th, 2021. And at the game, they're going to honor Hank Aaron, who played for Atlanta, and he was a civil rights activist as well. Okay, so that would have been very interesting to have voter suppression, this draconian voter suppression law going into effect, and you have the All-Star game there honoring Atlanta's own Hank Aaron. I want to go back to this. Article here from USA Today, and then we're going to go to clip number one, Jalen from Roland and Filter. We'll go to that in just a minute here. So I share with you the statement from Commissioner Manfred. Now, he went on to say, we will continue with our plans to celebrate the memory of Hank Aaron during this season's All-Star festivities. In addition, Major League Baseball's planned investments to support local communities in Atlanta as part of our All-Star Legacy projects will move forward. We are finalizing a new host city, and details about these events will be announced shortly. Okay. Now, in making a stand against discrimination, Major League Baseball joins the NBA, which moved its 2017 All-Star game from Charlotte due to state legislation discriminating against the transgender community. Now, you have some people who say, well, it's going to hurt people in Georgia. You know, it's going to hurt poor people in Georgia. Why are we going to penalize people in Georgia or Atlanta specifically? If we move the All-Star game, it's going to penalize people in Atlanta. All right. The bill is penalizing people, especially African Americans, across Georgia. The bill is penalizing people across Georgia, especially African Americans, Hispanics, etc. Now, what happens is when you go study the Indiana transgender bathroom bill and its reversal, it was reversed after about a week because of corporate pressure. Some people say, oh, well, if you move the All-Star game out of Atlanta, it's going to take economic prosperity away from Atlanta. It's going to hurt poor people. Well, poor people were hurting yesterday. Poor people are hurting today. If the sun comes up tomorrow morning, rises in the east, sets in the west, poor people will be hurting tomorrow as well. But this bill compounds it. This bill reduces the ability for people to vote people into office whose policies are more beneficial for them. That's why they put the bill in place. This is retaliation. So we have to stop being scared to fight back. And one language that the power structure understands is economics. That's why Major League Baseball is responding from pressure being put on various corporations and this whole climate. So this whole thing is growing. We just talked about the 72 African American executives who are banding together and put out a statement. They signed on to a letter condemning the restrictive voting bills that are being proposed. Almost 300 of them now in 47 state legislatures, pushed by Republicans. New York Times had this big article from March 31st, and we talked about it here on the show early in the week. Black executives call on corporations to fight restrictive voting laws. Dozens responded after companies in Georgia said little against state legislation that put strict rules in place. Over the last couple of days, and it was a big article from CNBC.com, many corporations have started speaking out in strong opposition to Senate Bill 202, as well as similar bills in other state legislatures as well. Okay, so we have to understand leveraging our economics to enforce our political agenda. But this is not time to be scared because you're dealing with demons. This is not Be Kind to Demons week. This is not the time to be scared. Okay, this is the time to go for the jugular while you have the momentum. All right, now I want to go back to the article here from USA Today because it shows a history of sports leagues putting pressure on state legislatures and politicians. Okay, so in making a stand against discrimination, Major League Baseball joins the NBA, which moved its 2017 All-Star game from Charlotte due to state legislation. Okay, Charlotte, North Carolina, due to state legislation discriminating against transgender community. When they moved that, I don't remember people talking about punishing people in Charlotte because they moved the NBA All-Star game and it's going to hurt poor people in Charlotte, things like this. No, people were saying they did the right thing in general. Unless they were on Fox News. They said they did the right thing. Now, the NFL moved the 1993 Super Bowl out of Arizona after the state of Arizona refused to recognize Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a federal holiday in organizations hitting municipalities in their pocket. Now, I don't remember people saying, well, don't take the Super Bowl away because you're going to hurt black people in Arizona. OK, it's going to hurt poor people. Don't do that. All right. Now, remember, Arizona was the last state to recognize Dr. King Day as a federal holiday. And Public Enemy had a song out about Arizona called By the Time I Get to Arizona. All right. So I find it interesting how people have this selective memory and they think that, oh, well, if you take the game away, the All-Star game is gonna punish people in Atlanta. Most people in Atlanta can't afford to go to the All-Star game. Just like most people in Phoenix or Arizona can't afford to go to the Super Bowl. But instead of focusing on short-term pain, we should really be focused on long-term gain. And these draconian Jim Crow era bills are being pushed in 47 state legislatures. So as I've said before, like 5 weeks ago, we have to have a 50 state scorched earth economic guerrilla warfare strategy. It can't just be in Georgia and focus on Georgia-based corporations. No, across the country, African Americans, Hispanics, woke white people, whatever, have to focus nationally on a few corporations and to then put pressure on these state legislatures. The reason why is because a lot of these corporations help to finance many of these Republicans. They donated to many of these Republicans' campaigns, and they can stop this. They can stop this. So it has to be 50 states. This is not the time to be scared. All right, let's continue. Okay, so you had, these are just a few examples here. And then also in 2017 All-Star game, but it was also the NCAA, it was an NCAA championship game as well. That was moved. Also, there was let me see if we could pull this up here. There was, when CNN has an article dealing with this. Let's see if we can pull this up. This deals with, the Indiana Religious Freedom Bill. Going back to 2015. All right. So if we look at this article here from CNN, I wonder, April 3rd, April 3rd, 1968, when Dr. King delivered his last speech, I've been to the mountaintop. Okay. And he was telling African Americans in Memphis, Tennessee, to boycott Coca-Cola and Wonder Bread and Hart's Bread and Seal Test Milk for the discriminatory hiring practices. Okay, he didn't say boycott them only if it doesn't hurt you economically. No, we have to understand the concept of redistributing the pain. Okay, redistributing the pain. This is what he was talking about. He actually talked about redistributing the pain economically in his speech. This is why the speech is 43 minutes. This is why you have to listen to the entire speech, not the last 2 minutes talking about getting to the mountaintop. Okay, so this article here from CNN, March 31st, 2015, Indiana Religious Freedom Restoration Act, what you need to know. Okay, so this is the Indiana Freedom, what they call the Indiana Religious Freedom Bill, which is the transgender bathroom bill, right? So this is, at the time, the governor, his name, you probably have never heard of him before. His name was Mike Pence. Mike Pence was the governor of Indiana. Governor Mike Pence unleashed a firestorm on Indiana last week when he signed the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Critics of the law contend it could be used by individuals and businesses to discriminate, particularly against the LGBT community. And the ramifications for the Hoosier state are just starting to be felt in the form of boycotts, petitions, and travel bans. There were travel bans to Indiana. Okay, people weren't talking about, oh, it's going to hurt poor people if you have these bans. You may have had one or two, but the majority of people were saying no. You need to come out in force and stop this. Now, what's interesting is that the state legislature in Indiana, you know what they did? After a week of corporate pressure, guess what? They changed the law. They reversed themselves and changed the law after a week of corporate pressure. So we can't be scared. We can't sacrifice long-term gain because of short-term pain. So if you scroll down and look at this here, and I don't like looking at Mike Pence, but anyway, the backlash is immediate. Civil liberties and gay rights groups hold their stance that the law could be used by businesses to deny. Okay, boycotts begin from sports teams to musicians to other cities and states. They fell like dominoes. The NCAA, which is headquartered in Indianapolis and set to host its men's basketball Final Four in the city this week, said the law could lead it to move events elsewhere in future years. The NBA, WNBA, and NFL issued critical statements too. You know, in North Carolina, the NAACP came out in opposition. I think it was North Carolina. There was a let me see if we can pull up this article also, because I was looking at it in Firefox. There was another one dealing with the NAACP in North Carolina, and there was a boycott, some type of boycott, a travel ban or something. We'll pull up that one as well, because it's important for us to understand this, because a lot of times, people get scared. I don't know why African Americans get scared when you start talking about economic boycotts, because poor people are going to be hurt, like poor people are not already hurting. I don't understand that, but okay. So, so read this and research this, because there was threats to cancel conferences and all different types of things in Indiana and North Carolina. Okay, they weren't playing. Now, the one from, let's look at this one here from news1.com. Then we're going to go to the clip from Roland Martin Unfiltered. NAACP announces strategy for North Carolina economic boycott. This is from February 24th, 2017. Now, you remember me saying before to the corporations that came out in support of the LGBT community behind the transgender bathroom bill, I said, if you stand up for LGBT, you need to stand up for BLACK also. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. I'm still waiting on UPS. UPS says, what can Brown do for you? I said, Brown can stand up for black. That's what Brown can do for you. That's what Brown can do for us, because UPS is headquartered in Georgia. So if we look at this article here, these are all from my archives. I have thousands of articles in my archives. Okay. So this one is from news1.com, February 24th, 2017. NAACP announces strategy for North Carolina economic boycott. The civil rights organization points to a list of discriminatory legislation in North Carolina that includes the bathroom bill. So one of the reasons why the NAACP was launching economic boycott in North Carolina was behind the bathroom bill, but that wasn't the only reason. Let's look at this. Okay. Now, I don't remember people saying, "Oh, we shouldn't do this because it's going to hurt poor people." The NAACP called Friday afternoon for an economic boycott of North Carolina over its so-called bathroom bill and other discriminatory legislation, and announced the first steps of its strategy. The Reverend William Barber III, president of the North Carolina NAACP, told News One that the boycott is about far more than the bathroom bill or HB2. The boycott also comes in response to racially gerrymandered districts and a voter suppression law, among other grievances. The NAACP said in a Twitter post that it plans, in addition to the boycott, to, quote, file lawsuits and engage in nonviolent protests until our 5 demands are met. Then they go through and list their demands. You can read it here. Undo racially gerrymandered districts, etc. You can go through, read this here. Okay. So look, economic withdrawal and leveraging our economics to enforce our politics. We have a history of this. Okay. We can't be scared and say, oh, poor people are going to be hurt, or you're punishing the people in Atlanta moving the All-Star game. Things like this. No, this is much bigger than the game. Okay, this is much bigger than the game. Republicans are literally trying to turn back the clock on us and take us back to the time before the Civil Rights Act of 64. Take us back to the time before the Voting Rights Act in 1965. Brian Kemp, along with the other 6 dwarfs, I call them the 7 dwarfs of Georgia, he signed the bill, SB 202. He signed the bill underneath a picture, a famous painting of a slave plantation in Georgia called the Callaway Plantation. Okay, how poetic is this? I don't know what other signs that we need. Okay, do they need to have Kunta Kinte up there? They need to have like a real life statue of Kunta Kinte or something and change? I mean, come on, people. I have the picture here. We're going to pull it up. Now, while they're signing the bill, underneath and above their head is a painting of a slave plantation in Georgia. You have an African-American female state representative named Park Cannon who's knocking on the door to come in and witness the signing of it, because that's part of state legislatures' jobs, to witness the signing of bills being signed by the governor. And she gets arrested by white state troopers. While this is in Georgia, a former Confederate state. This is a picture of them signing SB 202. And behind them is a famous painting of a slave plantation in Georgia. How poetic. Question I would ask, what the hell you do? Why the hell you have a painting of a slave plantation? This is, why do you have that there? If Stacey Abrams was governor, I bet she wouldn't have it there. And I bet she would have vetoed that bill that the state legislature passed. She would have vetoed that bill, send it back to them, say, get the hell out of here with that. But you have people in Georgia who said, we're not voting for Stacey Abrams because she doesn't have a black agenda. But your dumb ass let a white supremacist get in office who has an anti-black agenda. I actually talked to African Americans who said they were not voting for Stacey Abrams in Georgia as governor because they claimed Stacey Abrams did not have a black agenda, even though many of her policies would be beneficial for African Americans. But your dumb ass let this white supremacist get in office who's a Donald Trump supporter, and he has an anti-black agenda. How did that work out for you? This is why we have to understand political self-defense. This is why I've said numerous times before, it's not always what a candidate can do for you, is also understanding how to block what people are trying to do to you as well. All right, so we discussed this on Roland Martin Unfiltered today. I'm usually a panelist on Fridays. First, he talked with Howard Bryant, who is a writer for ESPN, and they talked about Major League Baseball, the significance of Major League Baseball moving the All-Star game from Atlanta. Let's go to clip one. Jalen. Or Shakita, whoever's there. Clip one from Roland Martin Unfiltered.
These conservatives are being driven crazy, Michael.
Go to clip one. Clip one. It should be queued up at 11:05.
Between this story
clip one
and Sugar Daddy Matt Gaetz.
Go to clip one. MLB pulls All-Star game. Clip one should be queued up at the 11:05 mark. Okay, we'll go to that. Just start that up as soon as you get that queued up, because I had it queued up at 11:05. And then after he talked to Howard Bryant, then he went to this panel, and I responded. Now, after we deal with this story, we're going to talk. We'll give you an update on what took place in day 5 of the Derek Chauvin trial. Okay, do we have it queued up? Clip one.
Legacy projects which have been planned and are in progress. Joining us right now is ESPN writer Howard Bryant. He also is the author of a book on Henry Aaron. Howard, first and foremost, Henry Aaron was someone who believed in civil rights. And I wouldn't be surprised that if he was still living, he would tell Major League Baseball, thank you, stand for voting rights, because some things are bigger than entertainment.
Yeah, no question about that. And I think that baseball found itself in a box. What were you going to do? Are you really going to celebrate Jackie Robinson Day on April 15th? Are you going to celebrate Hank Aaron Day on April 8th when he broke the record, 1974, in Atlanta? Are you going to have an all-star game that celebrates the memory of Henry with this looming over you? I think what it really does come back down to is baseball recognizing that aligning yourself with this narrative of voter fraud is bad for business, and it's not going to help them, and that it's kryptonite for them, and that they knew that they weren't going to be able to talk their way out of this. And I don't really think, Roland, before we get too deep into this, I'm not sure. I'm sure this is not player-based. This is business-based. This is the league and the union recognizing ahead of time. This is not really a player movement. There are no players who are really in front of this. Maybe a little bit behind the scenes, but I think this is the business of Major League Baseball, the industry of Major League Baseball, really siding with the civic institution of democracy and of voting, realizing we can't side with this narrative of voter fraud.
And the thing here, and let's just be real, okay? Republicans did this because they lost. This was not, okay, we found massive voter fraud. No, there wasn't voter fraud. This is about penalizing folks in Georgia, especially black people who turn out to vote. And this is real simple. And I know Fox News is going to absolutely, first of all, Fox News is going to field day today with this decision. And a member of the Nation of Islam ramming his car, killing a Capitol Hill police officer. And so they're going to be on cloud nine. But the bottom line is this here. These white men, these Republicans, need to understand this ain't the same America. We have power and are going to flex it. And that's what caused the Delta CEO to change his statement, the Coca-Cola CEO to change his statement. And down in Texas, the companies, they saw what happened in Georgia. So American Airlines got out front of the voter suppression law there. They didn't wait for it to get signed into law. They came out and saying, no, we're against it right now.
Well, I think they know how it looks. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I think that the organizations, the leagues themselves know that ahead of time. What I'm saying is that this movement wasn't driven by players necessarily. And I don't think the industry of baseball wanted to chance it, because then once you get the players involved, now you get a really embarrassing situation. How do you feel about having an all-star game in Atlanta supposedly honoring Hank Aaron, and then the players pulling a wildcat strike or something like that? They knew that they had to do something ahead of time. And the difference is that even if all of these elements were the same, even if the vote had been the same, even if the legislation had been the same, I think a lot of these industries believe that they could talk their way around it and that they could survive the fallout of it. And now I think they realize that they can't.
Right. And I think that's what has changed. And folks need to understand, I was yesterday, Amanda Carpenter, who is conservative. She's a commentator on CNN. She was, highly critical of people talking about boycotting Georgia. And I had to give Amanda a history lesson. I had to walk her through the history of boycotts and sports and things along those lines, trying to explain to her how these things work. First of all, the Super Bowl was canceled in Phoenix after Arizona declined to make MLK Day a state holiday. The NCAA did not do any of their championships in South Carolina for 15 years, joining with the NAACP because of the flag flying above the state capitol. In Mississippi, the NCAA said there will be no championships in your state as long as that Confederate flag is on the flag. So we have a history where, again, this has gone on 15, 20 years, where pressure has been applied to major sporting events saying, hey, you don't do this, you're going to have a serious problem. And so there's precedent here.
Well, Roland, let's not forget, how far back do you want to go? Let's not forget 1965. You have the AFL All-Star game that was moved from New Orleans to Houston because the black players couldn't get taxis and hotel accommodations. And in Atlanta in general, the Milwaukee Braves, the only reason they moved to Atlanta in the first place was because they were guaranteed by the city that Atlanta Fulton County Stadium was going to be integrated, that there was not going to be segregated seating there. Otherwise, the Braves don't even move to Atlanta. And obviously, you can just go back 4 years ago. Go back to 2017, the NBA All-Star game with the bathroom bill. They moved the All-Star game from Charlotte. So absolutely, these things are absolutely, there's history here, and we know that it's a long history. And we also know that it's an appropriate history in a lot of ways because these stadiums are publicly financed. And because they're publicly financed, it's not as though it's simply just a private decision that these leagues can make. There is pressure to be applied here. And I think there's something else that needs to be considered too. And that is, we are seeing the backlash already. The fifth law, it's not just a backlash against losing. It's also a backlash against the players. We knew last year that the Atlanta Dream players they changed the election between Warnock and Leffler. We know this, and that this was a response to that as well. And so at some point, it would have been very interesting to see what the players are going to do moving forward, because it's not just the sensation of creating some sort of change in the vote in the moment. It's also being prepared to mobilize when the backlash comes. And as we're seeing right now, this is part of the backlash.
And what's also interesting
all right, pause it right there, Shakita. Pause it right there. Let's go to clip 2 because we ran out of time here. Let's go to clip 2 From Roland Martin Unfiltered. Started up at the 22:58 mark, please. So then Roland goes to his panel. Then he comes to me. Here's what happened.
Stay in states and support laws that suppress the vote.
I love that these conservatives are being driven crazy, Michael. I love it.
Well, Roland, between this story and Sugar Daddy Matt Gaetz being in trouble, oh, this is a bad Good Friday for conservatives. But I'm loving it. This is what we've been talking about for about almost 5 weeks now. I've said, look, we have to leverage our economics to enforce our politics. We have to pull out all the stops. They've declared war on us. Not only are they trying to take us back to the plantation, but Brian Kemp signed SB 202 underneath the painting of a famous slave plantation in Georgia, the Callaway Plantation. So they're not playing with us. And the last stat I heard is 47 states now where the GOP have these voter restriction bills based upon the lie. So we go back to, as your guest just said, we go back to 2017 when the NBA moved the All-Star game from Charlotte, from Charlotte, North Carolina. There's a history of this, all right? But then we go back to, and I have to keep bringing this up, you go back to the state of Indiana, 2015, the transgender bathroom bill. There was so much corporate pressure that the state legislature changed the bill after about a week. There was so much corporate pressure, okay? So this is just the first warning shot. There's more to come. And then we saw 72 African-American executives came out in opposition to these to these voter restriction bills as well. That's huge. We haven't seen something like that before.
But this is also why I think what has to happen
All right.
is...
Pause it right there, Shakita. Yeah, corporations have to say something before the bill gets passed also. That's true as well. Okay, we're going to go... I want to go quickly here to... we're going to go to clip 4. So we'll switch gears here. So today in the day 5 of the Derek Chauvin trial, we saw Lieutenant Richard Zimmerman testify. So Chief Homicide Detective testifies knee on George Floyd's neck, totally unnecessary. Lieutenant Richard Zimmerman, who leads the department's homicide unit, says he has never been trained to put his knee on someone's neck while they are in a prone position, and that Derek Chauvin's actions were quote unquote totally unnecessary. Let's go to clip number 4 from NBC Nightly News.
Today, Lieutenant Richard Zimmerman, the longest-serving officer in the Minneapolis Police Department, delivered a scathing rebuke of former officer Derek Chauvin's use of force on George Floyd.
Totally unnecessary.
What do you mean?
Well, first of all, pulling him down to the ground, face down, and putting your knee on the neck for that amount of time, it's just uncalled for. I saw no reason why the officers felt they were in danger.
For Floyd's brother Terrence, the testimony was crucial.
That just builds my confidence more in the system.
The defense is arguing that it was Floyd's drug use and underlying health conditions that killed him, not the 9 minutes and 29 seconds that Chauvin placed his knee on Floyd's neck.
Minneapolis Police Department policy allows a police officer to use whatever means are available to him to protect himself and others, right?
Yes.
But on Thursday, Chauvin's shift supervisor also said he went too far.
When Mr. Floyd was no longer offering up any resistance to the officers, they could have ended their restraint.
Now retired Police Sergeant David Pfluger told the jury about his first phone conversation with Chauvin shortly after the incident.
We just had to hold the guy down. He was going crazy.
Some of the audio captured on Chauvin's body camera.
Did he mention anything about putting his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck or back? No.
After a week of emotional witnesses, the prosecution is now relying on law enforcement testimony to make its case that Chauvin went rogue.
When the jurors are looking to make an evaluation, this is going to be the first time that they can actually look to other law enforcement and supervising law enforcement agents to say that this was or was not a proper use of force.
So far, prosecutors have called 19 witnesses. Testimony resumes Monday.
Okay. And Chief Arredondo is going to testify also, Minneapolis Police Chief Arredondo. Now, Lieutenant Zimmerman also said once the person is cuffed, the threat level goes down all the way. How can that person hurt you? He then clarified, I think there was cross-examination, but he didn't clarify, that the threat level does go down. Okay. But he said that it was totally unnecessary for Chauvin to have his knee on George Floyd's neck, especially for that length of time. And then it continued even after George Floyd stopped moving and stopped talking. All right. So we'll talk about this some more next time. We're off Sunday for Easter. We'll be back Monday. If you'd like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. You can still register for our online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior is not over till we win Wakanda forever. Stay tuned for Democracy Now! We'll talk to you next week. Peace. All right. So we'll post a link here. You can still register for the online course that I teach, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. This is a 8-week, 16-hour online course. This time around, it's going to be 9 weeks. 9 weeks, about 18 hours. We deal with thousands of years of history and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. So our next class will be Tuesday, April 6th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we deal with ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt. We deal with the Nile Valley region of Africa. We deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. And then we go through and analyze the transatlantic slave trade as well. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have video clips, book references, articles. I do the classes live on Tuesdays, but all the sessions are recorded, so you can go back and watch them over and over again. You can watch from around the world. That's fine. It's the class is regularly $130 on sale, $80. Okay. And as soon as you see, if you go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, right on the home page, you scroll down, you'll see the information for the online class. Let me pull this up here. All right, let's see here. So when you go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, let's see, you scroll down, you'll see the information for radio show. We're on Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight, and Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Click right here to listen to audio podcasts of the shows. I'll be uploading a lot of audio podcasts over the next few days. Click here to read articles that I've written. This is the episode of my show, and we were talking about Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion performing WAP at the Grammys and negative corporate controlled hip hop and how they only let Negroes do stuff like that also. Here's information for the class. Next class is April 6th. Click here to register here. We have a flyer here that describes it as well. Click here to register here. Takes you to the next page, and then click here to enroll. And as soon as you register, you can start watching the content. Okay. All right. Look, we have to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week. Peace. Digital Dandelion's Technical Solutions works with businesses like yours to create an operations manual for your business, which is something many businesses don't have. According to AARP, more than 30% of small business owners are over 50 years old. Many business owners want to retire by selling their businesses or by passing their businesses on to their children. However, according to Forbes Investment Advisors, many retiring owners' attempts to sell their businesses for retirement fail. You cannot sell your business without a business manual. Your children also cannot inherit your business because there is no way to run it. Your business does not have to die when you leave. Their business Bible products will give you the tools you need for a thriving business that can make you money even after you retire. Are you looking at increasing your business's annual revenue? Digital Dandelions can help you make at least $100,000 in annual revenue and expand your business. Speak with them today about solidifying your business. Visit digitaldandelions.com today and get a free 30-minute consultation.
We all know the cannabis industry is headed toward an uprise in the past decade. What happens when there is a brand that brings this uprise in a blow? The cannabis industry welcomes her uprise. Hustle her hemp. Delivering excellence with pride is her watchword, and how you choose to embrace it makes it a priority. From cultivating rich cannabis into exquisite and tastefully finished CBD products to delivery, Hustle Her Hemp leaves no stone unturned. Hustle Her Hemp's mission is to empower women of color by building business and creating legacies, uniting beauty, health, and business. We are a pure definition of how we want the CBD industry to become in the future. While we are redefining innovation, we bring the same energy to improving the quality of life. Hustle Her Hemp is the new uprise.
Black Bees products are a collection of natural, organic, personal care products with an appreciation of nature and bees. Our philosophy is without bees, we have nothing. We are honoring our Nile Valley ancestors who understood the importance of bees. Black Bees created a high-quality, natural, organic personal care line that would be affordable to everyone. We hope you try and enjoy our Black Bees products line and come back and visit us at blackbeesproducts.com.
With blackbusinesstee.com, the messages are clear and meaningful. Keep your business in the black and out of the red. Mind your black business. Know your numbers and plan strategically. Black Business Boss, lead your industry. Support black business. Encourage, patronize, and uplift one another. BlackBusinessTea.com currently has products sold in Detroit, Atlanta, Chicago, and Los Angeles, with proceeds returned to the black community. They have a wide selection of hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, hats, sweatshirts that support black-owned businesses. Visit the website blackbusinesstee.com. That's blackbusinesstee.com.
Gain knowledge in minutes from insightful summaries of progressive and socially conscious books. Blacklisted gives you access to curated content that'll satisfy your curiosity to learn and understand different perspectives. Empower yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. It's easy to read or listen to on the go. Blacklisted. Empower yourself. Start your free trial today.
For 25 years, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the rich legacy of the Black Museum movement in America by showcasing original artifacts of the Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black History mobile exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalid El Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and he is a highly sought-after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, hip-hop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid was named among the change makers for NBC Universal's Erase the Hate campaign and listed as one of the 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid Al-Hakim directly at 313-645-4197, 313-645-4197, or visit their website at blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him at bhistory101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com.
Hi, I'm Joel Wilson, President and CEO of JCW Computer Consulting LLC, a technology implementation firm with over 20 years of satisfying customers. We offer a full spectrum of industry top-tier branded services. We are an authorized partner or reseller for Lenovo, Zoom, T-Mobile, Microsoft 365 and Surface tablets, Google Workspace, Acer, Asus, Samsung, PCmatic security software, and many more. Our online store features laptops, Chromebooks, computers, printers, accessories, and software. Businesses, take advantage of our free 1-hour Zoom tech consultation and know we offer top nationwide high-speed internet service providers, voice over IP, and cellular phone services. Home users, don't miss our current in-stock Chromebook inventory. Please visit us at jcwcc.com or call 215-879-6701.